Why is your efforts having a civil rights attorney in a lawsuit pending or in preparation of a lawsuit if you don't even know if they had anything to do with it? I reached out to Ben Crump. He don't want to talk to me.
He does not want to talk to you. He doesn't want to talk to you.
He definitely don't want to talk to me now. We've had people try it, review it, and the feedback has been absolutely amazing. Whether you choose guilty or not guilty, you're getting a premium bourbon with flavor, style, and a brand that stands out. Not Guilty has the smooth sweetness people love, and Guilty brings the bold, classic bourbon character. All you gotta do is go to verdictbourbon.com, plead your age, and face the verdict for yourself. You must be 21 and older. Please drink responsibly.
I want to play a clip of your interview with Trayston. Rose, if you're listening to me, because the mother and father had a reaction to him that I thought was very interesting, and I wanted your take on the context and their reaction to it. Elmore, you heard that kid Trace in the interview say that he was friends with Nolan and that you guys would know him. Do you know him? Do you recognize him?
No, I don't. Just because you park your vehicle in someone's yard doesn't mean that they have to know you. Sounds more to me like he's more focused on getting people to know him and getting away from the fact that his so-called best friend is not here anymore. Everyone that they may have interviewed are at home. Our son isn't. Our son should be in college right now. We should be receiving phone calls from him about how his day went, but we can't. And we just want everybody to focus on what the real subject matter is.
How did that strike you based on what you understand from Trayston?
It was confusing to me, right? Because you got to think, I don't know none of these people. Trayston goes on the television, ABC or one of these news networks. Before I ever met Trayston, he was like one of the first people to speak out. And Trayston is telling me that he's friends with Javon too, or Javon. He's telling me all of them are friends. And they all are really close. And they all hang out with Nolan. And everybody's saying they're Nolan's best friend, right? So then Trayston explains to me, I go over his house all the time. He literally started tearing up in his eyes. Now, he could be telling me a flat lie, but he showed me pictures. He showed me pictures of him and Nolan at prom. He showed me multiple pictures of him and Nolan hanging out. He started to tear up when he told me before the interview and during the interview. He was like, that hurt, that she said she wouldn't even know me. He didn't just say he posted. Now, he could be, like I said, I don't know who's telling the truth tonight. I wasn't there. He didn't say he just parked his car in Nolan's yard once. He said he parked his car in Nolan's yard a few times. He also said he spent the night over Nolan's house multiple times. He told me that him and Nolan, he said Nolan was his best friend. Now, you got to think, Chris, he's not implicated in this. Mm-hmm. Only the white kids, right? They left the black kids out. Javon, even though Javon had his story of being with Nolan and all that, nobody cares about his story. Even though Javon left his phone on the boat with Nolan's phone, when the boat left and they had to come back and get his and Nolan's phone, nobody talking about him because he's black. But Trayston is telling me, I used to take him to school. We used to get rides together. His dad used to come pick us up and do these things. And he seemed visibly emotionally upset about them saying they didn't know him. Now, that's my conflict. I don't know who. Nolan is not alive to tell us, but I find it more believable on his side than their side. And I'm gonna tell you why. It wasn't until I think that Trayston distanced himself from the racial component in this situation that all of a sudden he's no longer even associated with Nolan. And I can't, it's very hard for me he tells me the class that they met each other in. I just don't see him lying. I just don't see him lying about it. I can see parents, let me give the parents a side. If you're not very in tune with your kids, You may not know who their friends are. You don't think they're friends. You don't engage with them. They don't come to your house often. But to Nolan, when he's not at home, he's engaging with these young people and he's very friendly with them. I find it also interesting that the parents act like Warren and them weren't his friends. And Warren and his parents are like, let me tell you this, Chris. Nolan's mother went to school with Warren's stepmother. They went to school together. She have all these pictures in the yearbook and them and all her classes. They went to school together. They knew each other to a certain degree. And the mom is saying she don't know any of these people. And the parents, when I met them, they were all emotional about Nolan. And they said, Nolan he's over our house all the time. We love Nolan. I mean, they cried. One of the mothers cried when she talked about Nolan. And so it's kind of interesting that, like, all the parents are saying that they love Nolan and he's always there and they vouch for his character. And they have pictures with Nolan everywhere. Nolan spent the night at their house and Nolan went out to Horn Island with them for the second year in a row.
Well, look, here's one thing we know for sure, and you mentioned this earlier. This was a good kid. You got to give credit to his parents. You got to give credit to his extended family, his teachers. They had a good one here. This kid had good grades. He was a college athlete. And everybody, not just because he's dead, because there could be people who just wouldn't say anything or would say it differently, right? I mean, you and I have both seen plenty of situations where a young person dies and it's under curious circumstances and they weren't a saint and maybe they didn't deserve what happened to them either, but there's a mix. Not with this kid. No. Everybody unfailingly says, and you see it in the videos of him dancing with staff at the school and stuff like that. And, people wanted to be around him. They liked him. This was a good kid.
This kid, and this is why it bothers me so much, because this kid was an exceptional human being. Like, I was tearing up multiple times talking to these boys. We went out to Horn Island on a boat. They were emotional and saying this was Nolan's favorite song. They played songs that Nolan loved going out on a boat to Horn Island. These boys were tearing up. They loved him. His parents, the boys that I'm talking about, I never met Nolan's parents. His parents cannot say enough about Nolan. They loved him. They said he was like a son to them. One of the boys' mom, Chris, presented a 70-page document to me where she said she's so obsessed with finding out what happened to Nolan. She went and talked to everybody in the city. I talked to this person on this date, and this is what they said. This person wasn't involved. This person did this timeline here, this, 70 pages. This is how much one of the boys' mother loved Nolan and wanted to find out what happened to him, that she is literally talking to everybody on planet Earth.
One other step sideways, and then I want to ask you about what your best sense is as former law enforcement and someone who was down there and someone who's working it as to where we are and where we wind up. There was a fundraiser. Nolan's friends established a Give, Send, Go fundraiser titled Stand with Nolan Wells's Targeted Friends. The names offered were Warren Hudson, Jax Patalo, and Morgan Seymour. What do they need a fundraiser for?
Yeah, because they're getting ready to get sued by the family. The family had established this the day that Nolan was put to rest at his funeral on that Monday. The family signed a document opening an estate in his name. Most people that I talked to about that said that is what you do in preparation to sue for wrongful death. They are posturing up to sue the family, to sue these kids. And they sent the document to some of the families. I saw one of them that says that they need, in preparation of a lawsuit, that they need to retain text messages and all this other stuff that they have to retain and not delete in preparation of a lawsuit. Now, mind you, Chris, nobody knows what happened to Nolan. by all accounts,
Do you believe that, by the way?
that nobody, well, I'm saying we don't have any information that anybody knows. So
Oh, I got you.
I don't, nobody's told me and nobody's told anybody. Everybody's kind of speculating. Maybe law enforcement know, or they may not even know, right? People may not even talk to him about it. But we do know that he's dead, but we don't know what happened to him. And if a person is being honest and then digesting all the information that's made available factually, it appears that these young men whom they accuse, whom is listed on the GoFundMe, have Gifts and Go, was not there. Phone records, Life 360, boat records, GPS, all of that has them all leaving. All of them are gone. The 3 boats that came in with Nolan on one of the boats, that friend group were all gone except 3 people, including Nolan, were all gone at 4:30. People saw Nolan afterwards. So with that being said, why would you sue without knowing the conclusion of what happened? What if Nolan drowned? Why is your efforts having a civil rights attorney in a lawsuit pending or in preparation of a lawsuit if you don't even know if they had anything to do with it? And I just think that what happens with Benjamin Crump, this is my opinion based on a plethora of examples, and there are families that have reached out to me saying that he did him wrong. And I'll be trying to look into the validity of that. But like, he's coming in to do what? Not to get justice. That is a ploy. If you look at his track record, no one has gotten criminal justice. It's only financial payouts. He, hands up, don't shoot, Michael Brown. Michael Brown, they got a payout. Breonna Taylor was justifiably shot, according to the law and according to all the information I had. He represented them, and he was all at their funeral. The young kid that was killed by Zimmerman. Trayvon Martin. All of them. Payout. No justice. He's not in it for justice. He's a civil rights attorney. So he goes into this, he raised the high profile, and then they raise as much money as they can, and then he's on to the next thing. I do not think he cares whatsoever about real justice. He should have never released that autopsy. He could have gave it to the family. He could have had them explain to the family so they know. But you go release to the public is negligence. And there's a defense attorney saying because he released it, there's no way that nobody's going to prosecute anybody. You have an autopsy that said it's undetermined, and the defense attorney explained all this stuff in an interview that I saw, and I was like, that very well could be true. So regardless of that, I don't think that he is in it for the right reasons. And then he jumps over to Corey Ruiz, who was shot by police in Madison, that had an insane criminal record, that allegedly stabbed one of the officers when he was shot. Why is he jumping from there to here? You have the other young man he's supposed to be representing. None of them he's going to get criminal justice for. He's just going for the money, in my opinion.
Well, look, and you're entitled to your opinion. What would be the defense of Ben Crump? That he gets exposure, gets attention, make sure that it's taken seriously, make sure that people are aware, and the only remedies are civil on his side. He's on the civil side.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's not necessary. Like, for instance, like if you go back and look at this case, why would he be necessary in this case? When you have, let me explain this, Chris. This is what we have here. And this is why I think he's looking at money and he's exploiting the pain of some of these families in order to get money, in my opinion. But this is what we have here. You have a young man who's loved by everybody that dies. You have the family of the boys that saw him last reaching out to his parents saying, let's talk. We want to talk to you. The lawyers reaching out saying, Benjamin Crump, let's talk. I reached out to Benjamin Crump before I ever heard from these kids. I reached out to Benjamin Crump. He don't want to talk to me.
He does not want to talk to you. You know he doesn't want to talk to you.
He definitely don't want to talk to me now. But I would talk to him. If he wanted to come on my show, I would talk to him. He doesn't want to
talk to you. You trash him all the time. He's not going to talk to you.
And they trashed me. They said, I'm not worthy of getting a platform, which is fine because I stand by what I say and we can have a conversation. Just say if we were on your show and he was on here, I'd say I'll agree to come on with him being on the show. He wouldn't. But anyway, but they don't go and talk to Warren's family. They don't go and get information. They don't go and ask that you delete the phone. They don't go and do any of the due diligence to find out what happened from the side that were cooperating with them in the beginning. Immediately, they go to a civil rights attorney. He immediately shut down communication with anybody on the other side. None of this had to be the case, Chris. Like, Trayston wanted to talk to the family. Trayston would have told them, that was me in the video arguing. That was not Nolan. Nolan's coach came out and said, I knew it wasn't Nolan immediately because I heard his voice and I know Nolan's voice. That wasn't his voice. Why would the parents and Benjamin Crump push that out to the media?